inflation is much higher than the interest rates you would traffic. I mean,
when I worked in
unless and until you're adding significant value to your products or services, it's very difficult to justify prices. If the wages are going up significantly, if the inflation is much higher than what it normally should be, if it's a sort of agriculture-based kind of backup you have for your products or services, only then you have legitimate reasons to touch your price. Otherwise, in order to build your volume base or increase frequency terms, it's the last thing one should touch. It doesn't give intrinsic or what do you call it?
Okay. I don't agree with you.
Intrinsic value. You're right.
When I worked for this big corporation, BTR, very successful business, as I say, 8 billion turnover. And one of the reasons for a success that was given was the annual, what they called the profit plan round, which they called budgets profit plans, which sort of says something about the company perhaps. And if you were running one of their units, you had to go down to London to meet the great man, Sir Owen Green, and you would have something like a 4-hour forensic examination of your budget. And sometimes you'd do a column with you individually. In your particular case, sir, what would happen if the price, you put them up one item?
It would impact the volume.
Would you lose any? No.
It would impact the volume.
Because?
Because the kind of industry I'm operating in is very price sensitive.
Which is which?
It's a fast-moving consumer goods.
Okay. But I imagine, even in your business, just like someone was saying here, it's an 80-20. There's probably 80%. Absolutely, I understand. They know your prices to 3 decimal places, but you've probably got a long tail of customers who are a pain in the backside. They probably don't pay you and all sorts. Stick their prices up by 10% and take the consequences. As I said earlier, the easiest thing in the world to be is a busy fool, and that's exactly the opposite of that. But what about everybody else? Put up your prices 1%, would you lose any customers? No, of course you wouldn't. It's difficult. That's why people like you are running the business.
I'm a garment exporter.
Sure.
And my customers are not the retail buyer.
Sure.
It's not final consumer. So my customers are business people, and they want to buy every day at a cheaper price.
Sure.
And they are.
So you're driven by operational excellence. If your business is driven by operational excellence, fine. I'm happy with that. If you are driven by operational excellence, you are selling on price, and I will accept you can't put your prices up. But everybody else in this room that is selling on customer intimacy or product leadership, I would have great difficulty believing that if you put up your prices 1%, you would lose any customers, because I don't believe you would. And if you did put up your prices 1%, price is unlike anything else. It goes straight to the bottom line to reinvest in your business and reinvest in the growth of your business. Nothing else does that.
I completely agree with you, and that's why I said if I'm not adding any value to my existing product significantly, it would be very difficult to legitimize the price.
If you're driven by operational excellence, which is what you've described.
No, which if I'm...
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Going to lose customers in those businesses. I used to write in, and they would hate it. Number one, your job as a salesman is to ensure that in the reasons why customers buy our product, price is below number 3. That is their job. If you've put all that investment into product leadership or all that investment into customer intimacy, you must never sell on price. And furthermore, what goes with that is 1% on your price will have no effect at all. Yeah, of course there's a limit. I know there's a limit. But I absolutely guarantee the vast majority of you in this room that are driven by those two, if you put 1% on your price tomorrow morning, you would not lose one single customer, but what you would do is generate significant additional income to invest in the growth of your business. That has to be the right thing to do. But let me just show you the maths, because we have had this dreaded word discount used. And there's 2 words that are even more dreaded than discount manufacturing plants these days, where actually the costs go down with quantity. An awful lot don't. You know, the printing industry always used to be, if you had a big volume, actually the unit cost was less, but now with digital printing that doesn't apply anymore. But let me just show you the maths, because I know what happens. If you're running a business or a division, the sales guy comes in on a Friday morning, doesn't he? Friday morning, boss, 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 this big order we've been after, big order, look, we're going to get it. All I need is a 10% discount. That's all I need. Look at all this volume we're going to get. And by the way, you need to sign now. We've got to get it out immediately. The next time that happens to you, please just look at the maths, because nothing else matters. Just look at the maths. So here we are. This is a 30% gross margin business. If you put the prices down by 10%, this is just mathematics, nothing else. What additional volume just to stand still?
111%.
What do you reckon? How much?
111%.
Not 11, it's 50. But of course it's not 50%, is it? If you've got 50% more volume going through, you're probably going to have to pay overtime. You're probably going to have to hire a warehouse. It's probably 60 or 70%. So you put your prices down 10%, profit the same, 70% volume you need. That is the ultimate busy fool, isn't it? That is just absolutely crazy. But I see it happening all the time. I used to do it as well, so that's why I feel conscious about it. Sales, that's his job. Your job and the job of your salespeople is to do exactly the opposite. That's what your salespeople are there for. They want to get the perception of your product or service to a high value-added product or a higher value-added product. That's their job. And by the way, let me just finish, I'll come back to you. In some parts of the world, times are hard at the moment. There's recessions and there's credit crunches and there's every reason given, there's every help given to the buyer to try and push in that direction. And therefore, you and your salespeople have got to be cleverer. And the answer, guys, is not to drop your trousers and give discounts. I just see it happening all the time. And only when you've done all that lot should you even think about giving a discount on the... Everyone's got ever so quiet now. What's inflation in Bangladesh? 13%. You know, you've got an opportunity down at about 2 or 3%. It is incredibly difficult to increase prices. When it's up at your levels, when you've got commodity prices doing that, it is very easy to put your prices up, relatively. And you ought to do it. Because you see, let me say something else to you. I said earlier, nobody is mediocre anymore. Nobody's got lousy products, lousy services. But that means everyone in this room. You're probably exceptionally good at what you do. In fact, I'm sure you are exceptionally good at what you do. And I'm sure you produce outstanding products. Right. That's really turned everyone off. Okay.
So, what would you do if, after trying to increase the price, the strategy fails? You see,
the strategy fails. Okay. Well, the first thing is you're careful. I mean, I do it to everybody. Take an example. Let's try it here, and always have a strategy where you can backtrack if necessary. Let's put 1% on here. You don't have to announce them necessarily. Say, we'll try it and see what happens. But there's other ways round as well. Even in an operationally excellent business, there are ways by which, in effect, you can get price increases. I used to have a business that made transformer laminations. Commodity products, they're basically little metal things that go in motors and transformers. Our biggest customer was Black & Decker in the USA. So this is a commodity product. And Black & Decker said, we want price reductions of 10% every year. Very simple. Just like that. And they have tremendous power, of course, don't they, these big corporations, as a lot of you know. So, okay, the first couple of years we managed to do that, but then there was just no chance. You know, we were very operationally efficient anyway. And really, we were at the point of saying, well, what do we do? You know, this is really the end of the... One of the guys in the room, and he was a manufacturing guy, actually, he said, look, they've asked for a price reduction. What do they really mean by that? What they're looking for is to reduce their costs, right? Right. So in that case, he said, why don't we see if we can find another way to reduce their costs? Do you know what we did? I went back to the Vice President of Black & Decker and I said, can we have a stay of execution of this 10% for 6 months? Engineers to your plant in St. Louis in the States to look at everything you do with our product and how you handle it and see if we can come up with any improvements. He said, yeah, of course. I said, we won't charge you. So that's fine. My guy went in there. This is a high-risk strategy, right? My guy went in there after 6 months. He demonstrated to Black & Decker how they could save the equivalent. That's fine. We don't want any price reductions anymore. Thank you very much indeed. So you don't always have to think in straight lines and neat piles, guys, even when it's operationally excellent. There is always an answer, but you need some creativity around. You need to come at things from different directions and get different people thinking about things in different ways. I have to believe always there is an answer. If you continue to drop your price...
Do you think that if same product made by any other company, then Black & Decker will buy from you?
Well,
even if you have helped them to
they did.
process improvement?
They did. They had 3 suppliers. We were one of 3. We were the only one outside the USA. So we were in a position where we really could have lost that business. But you know what? As a result of that, we developed a relationship we hadn't had before. And they do business with people they like or know or whatever. And that was an unexpected consequence. But yeah, Black & Decker, it's all about price. But the fact that we had demonstrated and we'd shown them how to save 26% meant that we were the good guys for quite considerable time. We got 5 years of work really as a result. Okay. So what do you want to do on price? Anything or nothing with this business of yours, guys? Do you want to put your prices up? 1%?
Very generic. Nobody is interested.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we should try.
You know, I find it really, really interesting. If this room was full of people running their own business, on average I get 2.5%, and they do it 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Always. Doesn't matter how big the company is or how small the company is. Guys, you've got to learn to take risks.
There are some development companies in this room. They are every day increasing. They're in a very good position in Bangladesh.
You want me to put naught? Seriously, naught? 1%?
Yeah.
Yes.
1%. Okay, we'll go for 1%. So 1% is 10, isn't it? And the great thing is it goes straight to the bottom line. Look at that. 10 million taka to spend on growing your business. Just like that. That's phenomenal. Right. It's 1 minute past lunchtime, so we'll stop there if that's okay. And I'll start getting a bit less excited. I just love business. And I love growing business, and I love helping other people grow business. Guys, every opportunity out there to really grow the bottom line of your businesses. 2 o'clock we'll reconvene, if that's okay. Thank you.
Lunch just downstairs.
Well,